How you guys doing? Today we're going to focus in on something that I call bubble script or bubble cursive. And pretty much what it is it's going to be cursive, but it's going to have an outline around it. The first thing I'm going to go ahead and start with is just lay out the basic name. Really light, guys. You don't want to do this real dark, really light. After I lay out the basic name, the next thing that I'll do is go ahead and outline everything. I'll outline the full name. So we got Lexus, and like I said, this is called like a bubble script. And what this does, it just gives you a more graphical, open lettering style. When you're outlining an L or anything that has like an overlapped part of the letter, like that bottom swirl that I put around. So the best thing to do when you have letters like that is just go ahead and go around the whole letter and then come back in and fill in the insides. So I want to be able to just kind of put a nice little design. I just have a phobic. I don't like any of my art floating, so I usually just try to put a line or something underneath there. And the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and outline things. So I'm going to pull that trigger back a little bit more. And when you're outlining, you just want to be able to have a consistent width of a line going all the way around. And what that does, it just kind of gives you a nice foundation, a nice base all the way around your letters. So, and when you're doing this, make sure you're not pulling that trigger back too much. If you watch my fingers, I'm just pulling back just a little bit, just to get a nice consistent outline. I'm gonna go ahead and go around the little nicks and crannies in the inside of each letter. These small little things like this, taking the time out to outline your letters, I noticed they're kind of time consuming, but in the long run, they really make your artwork pop. So go ahead and just take your time and go ahead and outline it. It always, I know sometimes you can be impatient trying to get the artwork done, but just take your time and do this, and I guarantee you that the art is always going to look incredible. Okay, so we went ahead and outlined the full graphic. The next thing we're going to do is I want to do some stencil work. So that's called 3M Super 77. It's spray adhesive, and I have a stencil. And this stencil is sticky, so I'll go ahead and I'll spray some spray adhesive on it, and it'll be sticky on one side. And I won't have to be worrying about trying to hold this stencil on as I'm airbrushing around it. Now this is called a positive stencil. You will be able to order these stencils shortly from us. And I want to do like a graffiti drip style. So I found a piece of the stencil that I like, and I went ahead and put that on there. And of course the spray adhesive is holding that down. And I'm just going to go ahead and lightly fade over top of that area that I want, that drip area. I'm going to go ahead and fade it up a little bit more. Notice I didn't pull that trigger back all the way. Now look at that, guys. It's an incredible drip design that you can add to anything, whether you're doing t-shirts, any pieces of apparel and clothing. I even have some of these guys that use it for automotive. I'm gonna go ahead and do another drip. Now if you notice guys, I'm not pulling that trigger back all the way. I'm just kind of slowly building up that color in there. And there we have it, another drip. Small things like these stencils can really make your design. Okay, I'm gonna add like a little flare around it just to kind of give it a little dimension. This is also great for doing like graffiti letters. And it's just like a little flare that I kind of put in there. And these little techniques and these little flares, and you'll see I'm gonna go ahead and add some bubbles on this side. These are little effects that just kind of help bring alive your art. I'm gonna go ahead and take that again. It almost looks like clouds. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some of those bubbles. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna lightly airbrush the drips in the inside of the letters also. Just kind of positioning that stencil right. I'm gonna kind of slowly fade right over top of that stencil. Nothing too heavy. I'm gonna take my time and slowly just kind of put those drips in those extra places. And these stencils work really well, guys. With that spray adhesive on the back of it, you just pretty much just put it on there one-handed and apply it. Airbrush over top of it. It works really well. And one thing that you have to just really remember, guys, that anytime you're doing graphics and you're doing apparel, t-shirts and different things like that, you always want to be able to make sure you have some cleaning supplies just in case you get paint on your hands or on your clothes. You know, keep some paper towels around. Windex works out really well also. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little drip in the inside of the words, and I'm using the other side of the stencil, so the drips will be more of an outline. Now notice, guys, I'm not gonna paint this really heavy. Look at my trigger. I'm just pulling that back just a little bit, and I just want to have a slight kind of glow of the drips around in the inside of the letters. Not too harsh, just something really simple. Look at that, guys. See how I was able to do that? I'm gonna go ahead and fade this last one in a little bit. And like I said, you don't wanna pull that trigger back too much. Now look, we have a custom design, and this stencil was able to help us create this design in the inside and in the outside. And then what I like to do also is, instead of just keeping that clean line, I like to kind of add some little flares and kind of jazzy up those edges a little bit, make them look a little bit more rougher. That also brings some definition inside the work. And for you guys who can't seem to get you're still working on trying to get that steady hand, and you're trying to figure out a way to be able to do outlining, this is another technique. It's called like a scribble technique. And you can just do this around the edges, and what that would do, that would hide any kind of imperfections. So as you see, you know, it kind of gives a little dimension also, and it makes your design pop out. So go ahead and don't be scared to go ahead and mix some of these different techniques together. That scribble around there looks incredible. The next thing, I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of throw a little circle around it just to kind of add some depth. Throw a couple little star blings and a couple little highlight blings. Gives you a little definition, guys. And that's it. That's our name, Lexus. We have the 3D pop with the flares around it. We also have the dripping at the bottom of the art and in the inside of the art using a custom stencil. There we go, guys. Now, you see this whole design is still based around the thick and thin concepts of airbrushing. We're just using different techniques, and I'm showing you how to be able to blend all these different techniques together to come up with an awesome piece. This is Lexus. Now let's move on to the next one.